What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Jaden, and we are continuing the NBA team preview series. We are almost through all 30 NBA teams. We started this before the NBA season started. We've kind of continued it into the beginning of the NBA season, and it's still really early, so I think there's a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of things to review with each of the 30 NBA teams, no matter how good or how bad they are. So let's get straight into it. Today's kind of an interesting topic. We're talking about the NBA teams that I think are like bad but good, if that makes sense. They're teams that are outside of the playoffs or maybe sneakily getting into that 10 seed to have a chance at playing into the playoffs. Like they're not teams that you're going to look at. They're not teams that are interesting in terms of contention, but I think they're actually like solid rosters that just need more time to develop. I do want to point out that there are some teams that probably fit this bill a little bit, like the Chicago Bulls, for example, who are starting off red hot. So maybe they are better than this pool of teams that I've put together for this video. But I feel like they're kind of like that back end Eastern Conference team, although they're proving me wrong right now. So I don't know. They could be a decent team. So the first team we're going to look at today is the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, I am down on the Memphis Grizzlies this year. I think they are gradually getting worse from when we saw them as a 2 seed. I think that was like a few seasons ago now. I'm not a huge fan of this team. I think that they are not a worst team in the West or like amongst the worst teams in the West, but I do not think they're a playoff team. I think that they are a play-in team and could make the playoffs, but I don't think they're a playoff team. Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. aren't enough for me to be like, yeah, this team like can definitely rock with all the other teams in the West that we think are great. The Clippers, the Warriors, the Lakers, who I'm not even super high on this year, the Nuggets, the Thunder, the Spurs even. These are teams that are just, I think, better than the Timberwolves. I think these teams are better than the Grizzlies. When we're looking at this team, right, they lost Desmond Bane. They have a guy in Cedric Coward who's starting off pretty well this season. They have a couple other role pieces. I don't know. I don't think their depth is there. Now, I like Ja Morant, but I think we're starting to get a little bit too close to him being overrated. He just doesn't stay on the court. He doesn't stay healthy, or he's getting himself involved into other stuff. He just got suspended. Like this guy, he's just still working on his maturity. He's not there yet mentally fully to, I guess, bring his team over the hump. Like he did it for 1 season, and then after that, it kind of all went downhill. I don't like this squad. I don't think they're deep. I think they need another all-star caliber guy. Jaren Jackson Jr. is starting off the season kind of slow. I actually like JJJ. I kind of want to see him on another team, to be honest. I don't know if this team is really like fit for him fully. I don't know if he can be a second option on a championship contender. Like he could be a third guy for sure. Third or fourth guy. Third guy for sure. I mean, he was an all-star last year, so it's not like this guy's he's not a scrub or anything like that. I just don't know if you look at him compared to the other second stars in the league, that he matches well with those guys. And then Ja Morant, I don't know if he can lead a team yet. I think he can. I think he has the talent to. I just don't think he has the maturity level to. I think the only thing to look out for this team this year is just to see if they make any moves. Are they going to get worse or are they going to get better? Because right now it looks like they're going to get worse. Because I don't like this squad. I don't think that they have the pieces, and they have just gotten worse and worse over the years. They lost Desmond Bane, who was their third guy. Yeah, I mean, they got young dudes. I like Jalen Wells. I like Cedric Coward. Like, they got some good young pieces, but I just, I don't know. And they got all those picks from Orlando for Bane, so maybe it is time to tank. Maybe it is time to move on from JJJ. They're not going to trade Ja, and I don't think they should trade Ja. But I think they got to make some moves. Either make a decision to be better and to compete, or make a decision to, we might enter a little bit of a rebuild here and build around Ja Morant. I think they should go the rebuild route because the West is way too deep for them to even come close. Like I don't know what moves they could make to even come close to some of those other teams up there. So I would go the rebuild route. We'll see what happens. In terms of prediction, I do think they can still fall around that 9 seed area, the 9 to 10 seed area, make it in the play-in, not make the playoffs, but make it in the play-in. And I don't know, another subpar season for the Memphis Grizzlies, I think, is underway. The next team I want to talk about, I'm actually kind of excited about. I don't think that they're a playoff team. I think they can make the play-in, like I said, for all these teams that we're talking about today. And that is the Portland Trailblazers. Now, this team is kind of exciting. They're also kind of fun to watch. They added Drew Holiday, obviously. They added Damian Lillard back into the locker room. He'll probably play next year. I don't know how many more years he has left, but it's cool to see him back with his squad that he's been with his whole career. There's a few things we need to look at with this squad. They're young. They're developing, but I also think that they can sneakily make it into that like 9 seed, or even like, I don't know if they can make the playoffs, but if you put them in a play-in game, they have the pieces to low-key like challenge a team that they would be playing in the play-in to make it to that 8 seed. Again, I don't think that they will. I don't think that they're good enough yet, but I do like this squad quite a bit. I think the two things we got to look at this year, well, there's really one thing we got to look at, and one thing I want to shout out. I'll shout out first is Drew Holiday is just that guy, bro. Like, Drew Holiday is the perfect plug and play guy. He's the perfect winner. I mentioned Drew Holiday in another video. I think I was talking about a team that should try to acquire him that could help push them over the hump. There are so many teams that should be hunting for Drew Holiday right now. Like, Drew Holiday was kind of just in such a backseat role in Boston, behind Kristaps, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. Like, he was just behind all these dudes. And now we're seeing him again in a position like he was in Milwaukee, but even more so because he doesn't have Giannis beside him, that he can put up numbers. He can get assists, he can get points, he can hit threes. Like, he can put up numbers, and he's actually contributing to winning with the Blazers. So yeah, I think Drew Holiday is massively underrated. I think he's been massively underrated his whole career, and I think teams should be hunting him now while he's still like at that back end area of his career, because he's not in his prime anymore, but he's definitely not washed, nowhere close to that. And there's so many teams that could use him, and they should be like sending out trade packages to the Blazers right now, because the Blazers don't need him. But Drew Holiday he's so solid, man. He's just a great winning type of guy that would fit on any championship contending team. What I think we need to look for this season, though, is just the development of the young guys. You know, Tumani Kamara, Donovan Clingan, Shaedon Sharpe, Scoot Henderson. I actually like this core of guys. Not really that high on Scoot, but I'm not ready to give up on him yet. Injuries have just hindered his career. Clingan, I think, will be a solid big. Tumani's getting better. Shaedon Sharpe can be a great scorer. I just want to see where this team goes. I think they're solid. Obviously, the whole Chauncey Billups situation is going on. And funny enough, I don't even think Chauncey Billups is an amazing coach for them regardless. So we'll see what happens there, but it seems to not really be affecting them that much. Oh, and I didn't even mention Denny Avdia as one of their young dudes who is just like developing and getting better. Like, this guy, because I don't remember I think he was like the 8th pick when he got drafted to the Wizards. And he was looking like a bust, low-key, and then put him on the Blazers, and now this guy's putting up numbers. So solid. I think they're just a good young team with some good vets in Drew Holiday and Dame. Could they make the playoffs next year when Damian Lillard comes back? Maybe. But I like the squad overall. So those are my thoughts on the Blazers. I think they're probably going to end around that 10 seed area where the Grizzlies kind of are at. I actually like them more than the Grizzlies this year. I think they could sneakily make a play-in spot, but 10, 11. But don't let the standings fool you on like the team being solid. It's just the West is so deep. All right, let's talk about the team up north, my Canadian team. Let's go. Let's talk about the Toronto Raptors. I'm excited about this team too, because I actually think they're getting better. I think they're getting better for the first time since we had Kawhi and then he left and we had just had years of being bad. I think we're decent now. I think we can make the playoffs in an Eastern Conference that is very depleted, and I think we have the talent. Scotty Barnes, Quickly, Ingram, and Barrett, they need to figure out how to work together. I think we're still kind of seeing that. Like, we're having games where Quickly's getting up 4 shots and then other games where he's putting up 20. And Ingram and Barrett have to share shots, and Scotty Barnes can have 30 and then 15, because these guys like have to learn to share the rock. And all of them are like scorers and not really like facilitators. And I think they just got to kind of learn to mesh together and work together and everything. But I do actually like their core 4. I don't think that they're good enough to obviously be a contender. I think they're good enough to be a playoff team. I don't know if they're good enough to get out of the first round, though, because I don't think any of those guys are bona fide all-stars. I think Scotty Barnes can be there for sure. Ingram has been an all-star before, but I don't know if any of them are like bona fide all-stars, and therefore, like, I don't know. The team is kind of iffy. I like them. I like the talent, but the team is just kind of iffy. Overall, I just think the Raptors are kind of in a weird position. Like, are they going to make moves? Can they add to the depth of talent that they have? Can they trade for an all-star or a high-level player? I don't think they can get like an MVP caliber player, but can they get like a high-end all-star, borderline superstar type of guy to help this squad? Because I think that's what they need. I think that's what they're away from, of being like a solid playoff team in a bad Eastern Conference, is just having a dude who is a bona fide all-star, borderline superstar, and maybe Barnes can turn into that. I don't know. He's still young. But I do think they maybe can make some moves this year, maybe make a move next year. And then also like the development of their dudes in Ingram and Barrett and Quickly and Barnes. And Ingram isn't younger anymore. Even Barrett's been in the league for a while, I guess. But Barnes is still like fairly new. Quickly somewhat. But these guys are still young, right? And they still have time to develop. And I think that's what we got to look at. In the East, I think that they could fall anywhere between 8 and 10, honestly. I don't know if they push up to 7. I don't even know if they push up to 8. But I think that they are a play-in team who can make the playoffs when push comes to shove. And overall, I think it's a good time to be a Raptors fan. I know we're not the Kawhi Leonard Raptors, the DeRozan, Kyle Lowry 1-seed Raptors, but I think there's hope in this team. I think there's hope in this future, and I think it's a good time to be a Toronto Raptors fan. Yeah, I think we need something to look forward to after that World Series. Although we'll be back. The Blue Jays will be back, I'm telling you. All right, let's talk about the final team in the teams of, are they good enough? Are they not good enough? And funny enough, I actually wasn't going to put this team in here because I just don't like this team. I think they're constructed so poorly. I think that they have no idea what they're doing, but I'm only putting them in this video because I think that the talent is there enough. And I'm talking about the Sacramento Kings. Man, the fall off of the Kings needs to be studied. Like, they were a 2-seed not too long ago, the light the beam era that started it all, and they looked good. And now they look bad. And I hate the way this team is constructed. Like, DeRozan, Levine, Sabonis, Westbrook, Schroeder, like, they all need the ball in their hands to like do something. And they're guys who love to put up shots, except for Sabonis. Like DeRozan, Levine, and Westbrook, they like to put up shots. And Westbrook is a facilitator. Schroeder's a facilitator too, but it's just like a weird mix. And like, why are they low-key putting together the Bulls except replacing Vucevic with Sabonis, as if that Bulls team was working with Levine and DeRozan in the first place? And now we're seeing the Bulls thrive with their new team. Again, it's early, but we're seeing them play a lot better, and they don't even have Kobe White yet. But yeah, I don't know what this Kings team is doing in terms of new additions. I mean, Westbrook, Dennis Schroeder, I don't know. They're weird. Zach LaVine is still great. Like, don't let anyone tell you differently. Zach LaVine is still great. I just he's on teams where I think it's not projecting into winning, but he also doesn't have other dudes around him who can help that. Like, he's always the best guy on their team, whether it was the Bulls or the Kings. If you think he's better than Sabonis and DeRozan, which he might not be. He's better than DeRozan, but he might not be better than Sabonis. If you put him as like a third option, yeah, I definitely think it could contribute to winning, to be honest. He's just a good, efficient scorer. He's great at the 3-ball. But this team is weird. Like, I don't know how y'all feel about it. I look at them and I'm like, the talent is there. Like, Sabonis, DeRozan, Levine, Russ, Schroeder. And don't disrespect my boy Russell Westbrook. Like, he's not washed yet. He's just not the same dude. Like, he can still put up numbers. He can still put up numbers. Is he the best guy to have on a team? Probably not, but he can still put up numbers. So, and the Kings, I don't think they know what they're doing. I just think overall they need to change something bad, and they need to change it very, very soon, because I think the decline is real. I think the decline is here. And DeRozan is getting older. He's going to get washed at some point. Russ is going to get washed at some point. Schroeder's going to get washed at some point. Like, yeah, the decline is coming, and it's coming hard for the Kings. And after that playoff drought and then getting into the playoffs, we are looking at a possible another playoff drought, because I just don't think they know what they're doing. They're just a weird team. Overall, I think they're going to fall into like that 12 seed area, 11 seed. I think they can push to the play-in. I think they have the talent. Like I said, I don't think they're like a worst team in the league type of deal. I just don't think they're great. I'm not high on them. I know other people might be high on them. I'm not high on them. The West is just too deep. The West has teams that are just constructed better. They could be better than the Grizzlies, and maybe I'm wrong on that, but yeah, that's my thoughts on the Sacramento Kings. So there you have it. Those are my teams that are sneaky, like could get into the playoffs, teams to look out for. Not that they're going to make crazy amount of noise, but I think they're just like solid teams to watch out for. We got one more video after this, 4 more teams to talk about. They are the bottom feeders of the league, the teams that I think are just like very lost right now and aren't going to make any sort of noise. Brooklyn Nets will not be in that video because I talked about the Brooklyn Nets earlier when I was kind of doing the team previews a little bit differently, and then I changed it up how I wanted to go about the formatting. So I won't be talking about the Brooklyn Nets. I think they're the worst team in the league by far, so I'll mention them briefly again in that video. And then I also won't be talking about the Hornets because, I talked about them earlier. I don't think they're like terrible, but I do think they're bad. Again, we'll talk about both those teams very briefly in the other video, but stay tuned for that one. Feel free to check out my other team previews. We've got a lot of cool stuff in there, and we went deeply into all the other teams in the NBA. So go find a video that has your favorite team in it, and give it a listen on my thoughts. Leave a like and subscribe. Comment down below if you have any opinions or thoughts on what I'm saying, and if you disagree with them, feel free to let me know, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace.